Wake up, buyer payer people. It's a beautiful day. Go grab yourself another cup of joe and say hello to Jim and Michelle Rhoads on the Buy Here Pay Here Morning Show. Take it away, you two.
Hey, everybody. Welcome. Happy to have you. Happy Monday. Hope everyone had a good weekend.
I can feel that it's a Monday.
How so?
Oh, I just don't feel ready. I'm not ready. I need another day.
Well, or another cup of coffee, one of the two. So,
Whose idea was it to do live anyway? Was that you? I think it was,
but it's like we've already set the precedent. This is I think that there's been once we did a recorded, and that was for the 4th of July last year. Right. Yeah. Yep. And everything else we're here, and it's okay.
It's all good. We're glad to be here. Yeah.
Beautiful out here in Salt Lake.
Yeah, great. Oops, better be quiet.
Yeah.
That's a little too loud.
I mean, it's like a theater. You're supposed to silence your phones before you get started. It's been beautiful out here, and so just enjoying cool nights. And I leave that door open, and it's like crickets. You can hear them. And it's just, I sleep like a baby.
I went out last night to catch the sunset, ended up catching some of those power gliders or power parachutes.
I think that Jim has a new hobby.
Yeah, it was fun. I was sitting on a rock watching the sunset, and video included deer passing by and the power gliders in the air. And it was a fun night. So good stuff. Yeah, we should get to our stuff. A quick announcement. We got Scott Allen, the current president of NIADA, the about to be chairman of the board for this next year. So he'll be with us on Wednesday. Wednesday.
Okay, right on. So that's
fun stuff to talk to him about.
2 days. So alrighty. Anything else? No. It's just don't forget that we are speaking at NIDA on the 22nd, which is a Thursday. And it's at what time?
It's the first session of the morning. I think it's 9 a.m.
Yeah, 9 a.m. So, and then we will be broadcasting live at the conference for the podcast on Wednesday. And then we're coming up with some time. NIADA has set up a stage inside the expo hall for different podcasters to get up and spend some time on stage. So we'll be having some fun in there too. So we'll let you know for sure, because we've already said, hey, can we get this slot? I haven't heard back yet.
Please find us. Yeah, we'll let you know when the time is established.
And we'll be around too. So and just make sure you just swing by and say hello. And George Thompson Montemayor, happy Monday from sunny Arizona.
Glad to have you here this morning, George.
Yeah.
So shall we bring in our guests?
I think we shall.
We have distinguished guests today. You want to introduce them?
Absolutely. So first we have Kendra Brown, and Kendra is out of the Houston, Texas area. So everyone should in Texas probably has seen Kendra, and that's Brown Family Auto Sales. And we also have Candice Price, and Candice is joining us from Omaha, Nebraska. And I'll have to tell you, Candice, that we have not had a client in Omaha.
Okay.
I think that we're like at 28 states, 29, and we're looking, like Hawaii. Hawaii.
I love that.
Good discount.
We're putting out the word, special rate for Hawaii. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Now, Houston, we've been there a few times and love that area too. And I've been through Omaha a few times.
That's kind of what we'll do, but we're trying to get the name out. We're not just a flyover state. Come spend some time with us. But I'm happy to help spread the name here in Omaha, so you guys can hopefully get some clients here.
Of course. I've been to Omaha, so I passed through there and hopped on a plane from there. But I know that city, and so we're glad to have you join us.
Yeah,
and then
thank you,
Kendra from Texas. Kendra, a little fun story. When I first moved to Utah, 2016, I moved from Texas, having lived in Texas about 12 years. So I had fun telling people. Okay. Yeah, I had fun telling people, listen, I just moved here from Texas, so please speak slowly, y'all. So
now Sherman's up by Dallas, is that right?
Yeah.
Close to Dallas.
Dallas, pretty close to the.
Good.
I think it's between Oklahoma and Texas, where he was raised in Oklahoma and Texas.
Okay.
That's why he just talks a little slower. And I love it when he when he pulls out Darlin.
Oh yeah.
It just goes boom.
I'm just saying. I just said
There
hello.
is a little. It's a charming accent.
It is. It absolutely is. So, just to give you all of our listeners out here a little bit of what we're doing today. Good morning, Bill. Is we have 2 dealers that will be excuse me at NIADA, and we're just kind of talking about why dealers are going to be there. I mean, what are some of the motivators? But before we do that, we just want to learn a little bit more about you.
Yeah. So Kendra, why don't we start with you? Like, how did you find yourself in the buy here, pay here business?
Well, my father ran a buy here, pay here lot in Houston for about 30 years, and 30,
yeah,
30 years, and then he retired. But he's actually opened a new lot that he's been running now for 6 years in his retirement. So I think it's in you. It became a hobby, and that's his life. So in 2013, when my husband and I got married, we decided that we would open a lot, and my dad served as our mentor. He had phased out his lot and passed it on to my brother, and we opened ours. So pretty much, from scratch. And I think what interested us in it, for one, was just the freedom and flexibility of being a business owner. But having worked in buy here, pay here, I found I wanted to do it a little differently. I wanted to do it my way. I'd work in a dealership, and I just wanted to. I see such a need for the community, like it serves such a special niche of people, but it's not special as in small. It's like it's people, and I just thought when my husband and I opened our lot, the first day we were there, we kind of sat back and looked out at North Shepherd and thought, we're going to provide better service than anybody else. Like, we're going to own this neighborhood. Right. And in that capacity, like, that became our differentiating factor. Is we're going to not just provide financing and vehicles. We had a vision for giving back to the community, and really had a heart for serving as like a business should customers. Good. And that's been our driving force since 2013.
Yeah, so good. 10 years. You guys
10 years. Yes, this is our 10th year.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah.
She used the word should. We find ourselves in our podcasting. We're often talking on the Wednesdays. We save that for White Hat Wednesday. And we talk about how dealers can connect with their community better and be better stewards, of what they do and be an asset to their community. And so we think should is appropriate. Like, we think that's a good way to do business. And I
think we're stewards, and we have the opportunity to be good stewards of a segment that just gets hammered.
Yeah.
It's pretty rough.
So Kendra mentioned the customer, the people side of it. I think, we often tell people, look, if you're thinking about getting in the buy here, pay here business, it's important to understand you're not as much in the car business. You're more in the finance and the people business, right? So
that's absolutely right.
You want to tell us about your background and how you got to be in the business?
Sure. I actually got started in the business because I wanted to do real estate. I wanted to buy and flip homes. I loved HGTV. That was my thing many years ago.
Love it.
But I didn't have any capital. So if you don't have capital, what exactly are you going to do? And so I realized, maybe I could do some cars. So that's kind of how I fell into it. And then I fell in love with it. So I was able to sell my first few cars and enter into the real estate business. So I do real estate, but auto sales is my absolute first. That's our priority. And we do it in order to help. Our goal is to actually change the buy here, pay here industry, the connotation that kind of comes behind the used car dealer. And sometimes people look at that as in a bad way and relate it to even an attorney, when it's so funny because when you need them, they're great and they're wonderful. So we're kind of the same. We don't think that people have to be taken advantage of to still be good stewards of your money. It's still your fiduciary duty to make money when you're a for-profit business. And if you want to help, you have to stay in business. But we think the two can go together. We recognize that myself and my business partner, Ron Devers, we are literally our customer. So our family, our neighborhoods, our community, we know what it's like, to not have a lot of money or not have a lot of credit or poor credit and need a vehicle. You need to get to work. You need to get your kids to school. So these are the things that we have focused on. So even though we're in different positions, financially, and our families now are, and we're working on, the rest, our extended families, our community is still important to us. So we spend much more time teaching than probably selling. So when you come into our dealership, we're working with you on how to get from this automotive purchase to owning your own home.
Which segues into your real estate business.
Real estate. Yes. Now, I don't sell houses from it, but I do connect them with community partners and organizations that I serve on and volunteer with.
Yeah.
To get going.
That's beautiful. There are a lot of really great programs for that, and I love the it's about helping, and from both of you, Kendra and Candice, it's like helping the community, being an asset to the community, and I love just that extra little. We're going to help you step out of needing this.
We are, and one difference is the part of our sale that takes us the longest, where we intentionally slow down on, is when we start talking about their contract, their retail contract agreement, which is typically what people try to fly through, and no one has any idea what they're signing. They're just putting initials. They just need a car. We purposefully cause them to slow down. This is what we're saying. This is where your interest rate is. This is why we want to help you improve things so that it can be lowered. And so that's just kind of our trend in business. And
yeah. How long have you been doing that there?
Since 2017.
So, okay, right on. So you're coming up to 10 years.
We're trying to get there.
Yeah.
Talk to me about your early mentorship, and then we'll come back to you, Kendra, on the same things. Like, where did you find your early mentorship coaching? Like, how did you learn all the basics of getting in the buy here, pay here business?
Well, funny enough, because Ron and I had never sold vehicles or worked at a car dealership, we got it by attending our local conference, which is the Nebraska Independent Auto Dealer Association. So NIADA has chapters throughout many states. And so your state organization will help its local chapters. And that's actually how I found out about NIADA and the national convention. So all the help that we needed came from that. And funny enough, God just works in amazing ways. We got licensed, went into the office that they have at our Capitol, found out that the very next day was going to be the state count. We hadn't heard of them. It was the very next day. So we got off on the right foot just immediately.
Oh, yeah. That's fantastic. And then you met people. I mean, those conferences, we can get into that a little bit more, but even just your local conferences, you meet other dealers.
You do.
That connection and that what did you do? How did you make this work?
Right. Even understanding dealer management software or different tools available, for helping protect your inventory, different insurance companies to check with, because those are sometimes the things that we don't talk through, when you're not in the business, and knowing, well, who actually even insures, car lots, and what does that mean? And why is it so expensive? So
very good.
Right.
And now we saw in your bio that you now serve on the board with the Nebraska Auto Dealers Association, right?
I sure do. Yes. Very excited to sit in that role with them. And, they're just great. And it's so amazing because then you're around people who have been in the business, 30 years. And they have a lot of knowledge to share, but then they're so willing to hear out the younger dealers and know, well, hey, maybe this is what we can do with technology, or this is what we can do with social media. This is how we can do marketing now. And so all of those things have been great to just put them together. I'm actually the first person of color to serve on the board, on a state board within our tri-state area, which is an honor. And so I'm just glad to be a part of the team.
That's beautiful.
That's cool. So Kendra, back to you on the thing about your mentorship. We know your dad was 30 years. We know he was a mentor of sorts, but we also heard you say you wanted to do it the Kendra way. So
yeah.
Why don't you carve that out?
Yes. So I worked for about 5 years off and on in the family dealership. My brothers were there. My sister, it was the whole family, right? In a very small combined space. But I started off doing collections, and I just kind of sat back and would just observe and find areas of improvement. So in my dad's dealership, I got him with a dealer management software because I saw a need. No one could answer questions on the phone because no one knew about the vehicles. So we implemented stock cards. So I found myself doing process improvement in the operations side of things. And really that was kind of what I was in the background. And I was helping with the dealer inventory tax, state sales tax, everything, and improving those processes. So when I got into my dealership, my dad served as a mentor. I didn't have much knowledge about how to make it work financially, and where do you get the capital, a floor plan. I didn't know anything about that, and so that was my learning curve in my dealership. And I found that there were lots of things I didn't know, and therefore lots of mistakes were made along the way. And it was probably, I think, in our 5th year where I was like, something's missing. There is something that we can do better. And I know in every other industry, networking exists, and I could never see it, how it would play out in automotive. And I just said, we're going to go to the conference and we're just going to see. And I didn't think of it so much as education as like, I'm networking. I didn't even know really what that meant either. Like, what am I networking for? I don't need a job. I don't know what I'm doing. So, but we went, and I went to the Texas conference, and we just learned a lot, and it really helped our operation. And we became, big proponents of education and attending those things and learning. The accounting was a big learning curve, and IRS compliance, and that one, I wish I had started sooner with a conference and an association, so I didn't have to make as many mistakes along the way.
Some of those are expensive.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, they are.
We're going to get back to some of the challenges in just a minute, but Kendra, what is your favorite part about working in Buy Here, Pay Here?
So when I'm at the dealership, I love working with the customers. And if I'm not at the dealership, I actually, from home, I can work with the customers and communicate with them. I love treating them well. I'll have people tell me like, now that's customer service, and because there's some things my husband doesn't do well with, like with technology and getting them set up for credit card payments. And then I'll come in and get it done. And they're just like, thank you so much. And so I like bringing that to them and working with the customers face to face. So and then one of the things that I've gotten into in the latter half of my career with Buy Here, Pay Here is marketing, and that for me is a personal passion because it's a never-ending thing. It never changes. It's always changing, and so it still sticks. It still speaks to the customer experience because the marketing, so much of marketing I've seen and experienced in the automotive industry is all about the car and the dealership and not about the customer and what the customer actually needs and wants. And so I see transformation, an area of innovation and transformation that I can bring there. So.
That's beautiful. It's something that we teach all the time. It's like, stop car-centric marketing. It's program. It's the people. It's the, well, how can we help? Candice, what is your favorite part about Buy Here, Pay Here?
Absolutely the people, getting to meet with someone new every day, getting to hear a different story, know another background, and then, able to stay in touch with them. Know what's going on. A lot of times we may sell a vehicle to a family and then their child comes back when they get ready to graduate high school or, getting ready to go off to college. And so for us, it's all about building relationships. And then they all seem to overlap. We consider Omaha as a big little town. And so that's really how it feels. So once you, sell a car to someone, you end up, knowing their family, and, getting word of mouth referrals is absolutely the best. It's the best way of knowing that we're doing something right. Yeah. And so the people are definitely it. Absolutely. And then even, as we spoke about mentors, most of our mentors, honestly, are outside of the dealership, outside of the automotive world and space. And they just help mentor us in business in general.
Yeah.
Yes. Good. Yes. Because that's a whole nother topic.
Yeah. I have to tell you both that, Michelle and I spend a lot of time talking about what we just kind of just define the things as straight lines and squiggly lines in coaching. Like when we're working with a new dealer, straight lines, that's all the stuff about where to buy a car, how to
procedure,
price it. That's what we call straight lines. And then the things you're talking about now, that customer
That's
relationship
squiggly.
and the culture in your company and all those things are what we
Yeah.
call squiggly lines. And so we're spending a lot more time over there. And I think what you ladies this morning have affirmed is that this whole thing about leading your business with heart, it's a hard thing. We don't hear dealers talk about it enough, but it really, if you don't bring your heart to your business and you don't have a heart for your customer, it can be a pretty frustrating business. Right.
And I would imagine it would be pretty boring if you're only looking at just the bottom line all day long.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. So we're going to switch. I want to talk about challenges, like some of the things that are the most challenging for what it is that you do that may keep you up at night.
That make you want to leave early.
Candice.
I love it. I love it. Well, for us, we face different challenges in the business. We face some challenges that are different because we're a woman and minority owned. So getting started and bootstrapping it is literally what we did. Just starting with our own little bit of money, which was truly $3,500 total. $1,750 from Ron, $750 for me is how we got started. And so even learning to work with our city, having to get special use permits and not knowing that pathway and what we needed to do. So now we're able to help a lot of other small business owners get going. And then big business now helps us, along our path now that we're growing and expanding. Also, our challenge, probably our largest challenge, was finding a way to be able to also finance our customers into nicer, newer vehicles. We can only do so much being buy here, pay here. So we're honestly now more of a hybrid type of dealership. We do buy here, pay here, but we also do traditional retail. And then we also use a third-party company, that vendor that we met out at NIADA last year, that is out of Texas, so close to Kendra. And they help finance our customers up here, those that either have no credit or poor credit, but need a second chance, deserve a second chance. They have the income, and the financial wherewithal at this point so that they can be in a vehicle that's newer, lower miles, that's going to actually last and, be much more dependable for their family.
Yeah.
Love it.
Challenges for you, Kendra. What are some of the things that might keep you up at night?
So right now, I would say cash flow management, and because we are strictly buy here, pay here, and haven't, we've kind of thought about, bringing in some traditional retailers, some outside financing. We just haven't executed on any of it. So, and then I'd say vendor consolidation, if we can call it that. There's so many vendors and so many things, components to what we need to run the business, and getting everything working right, being on the phone with customer support, and just making sure everything runs like a well-oiled machine alone keeps me up at night.
We frequently, one of the calling cards is putting dealers into business. And so they'll reach out and they're like, we're thinking about doing, and we do some cash flow modeling and all of that. And usually it's like your first thing you figure out is your DMS, because then you know what things integrate and what doesn't. And, it's like you try to find the things that will integrate because it will make your life easier. But if,
For sure.
Yeah. That's what I just had. I'm sorry. I had a dealer client for my marketing company, and he keeps website. I'm like, get your DMS first the DMS, then the CRM, and then we go from there. And I just keep bringing it back to that.
That's the best advice you can give.
Yeah.
So that's what we recently switched over last year from one DMS to another. Talk about a challenge.
Hard.
It was not fun days. It was not.
But besides what will integrate, when we talk DMS, it's like what will grow with you, because there's a lot out there that won't. And
that's right.
Just tell them, look, if you're going to make the switch, you better get to Costco and buy the Costco size aspirin bottle, because that's going to be an uncomfortable couple of months.
It is. And then figuring out, did everything switch over properly? Okay, now check these. It was definitely more. We bit off more than we realized at the time, but we're happy about it now.
Yeah, it's a lot easier to switch your GPS providers.
Sure.
Correct.
Correct.
Okay, so let's talk NIADA.
Yeah.
So it's coming up here. It's the 19th through the 22nd, and
So we're excited to get there. And, I'm a bit of a broken record about this kind of stuff. Like, we're always talking to dealers about why they should be there. And we've got certainly ideas of how we think they would benefit. But I think, Kendra, you want to just share first kind of what your experience has been. What are the things that you see that you benefit from by being there? We've heard you talk about the education early.
Yes. So definitely the sessions and picking the right sessions that you need to go to. I love going as a dealer with at least two people, so that you can divide and conquer and then come together and talk, and then maybe even book in the trip with a day devoted to, going over and letting everything kind of, come together and how you might implement it. I also love the expo hall. I know some people don't love it because they feel like they're going to get bombarded, but for me, it's like, I'm going to get it all done in one place over 2 days, rather than the email and then you didn't follow up and respond to the email. So it's a month later and you're still looking for a DMS provider or something. But that's what I do. I kind of map it out. I'm going to go talk to you and you. Do y'all integrate? How does this work? I get all my questions answered. So I'm kind of like a mad woman in the expo hall. Trying to get things done.
Expo can be really fun too. Yeah. So you get to see all the new, the shiny things.
Yes. The what's new. Yes. The innovation is really, really
and I'd
good.
say, one of the nice things about that is I say that it's one thing to find a company online and do a demo. It's another thing to visit their booth and meet the people who are the company. To me, that's worth the time, So Candice, you want to share kind of your own experience with the conference? We heard a couple things.
Sure. Yes. I love the conferences. So we started attending right out the gate. We were about 7 months in business when we attended the convention that was held down in Florida in 2018. And so that's actually how we knew what to use for GPS systems and began building relationships. And this last convention that they had out in Vegas last year, just a ton of opportunity was there. And so one thing that you're going to learn when you attend convention is you kind of find your circle. And so you have someone you can call on for questions, someone that can call you, you can talk things through, and then you just make friends and family. And so Kendra and I have kind of talked about it, even along with Jeff, and that it's like a reunion, a family reunion for car dealers, and someone that gets you and gets what you're dealing with and going through. And so, for instance, last year we met a family that's been in business for about 40 years, Tim and Betty Gaylord out of Denver. And we went to go visit Denver, actually, to go check out the 20 group that Kendra's a part of. And they invited us to their home. So we were able to go to their home, have dinner, talk with them about business. And of course, that's only for meeting out in Vegas. So the opportunities that you receive to build relationships and, continue to hone and grow those relationships is phenomenal. But the sessions, so when we go out to the conference, we kind of, like Kendra saying, we map things out and we divide and conquer, because one person can't attend all of the sessions, but they're all so great. So you want to, so we, take notes, we write ferociously, and then we get together and kind of discuss, well, what did you get here? What did you get out of this? What should we be doing differently? Or what are we doing right that we should stick with? So you get a lot of great things. And then going into the vendor room and the vendor session, that's just amazing. So all the new tech, if you're going there with an intention. So last year we had the intention of finding a new DMS. The reason that I like it so much is because you get great discounts at conventions.
Yeah.
Yes. And some of them are lasting, and so we just really appreciate that part of it. And then you get to find out what we're maybe not seeing or knowing here in the Midwest. What are they doing, out in California? What are they doing in Florida that's helping their businesses or make things easier? Yeah. So attending conference is priority for us.
Yeah. Customers the same all across the US. And so something's working, it's like resonating with your customer in California. There's a good chance it'll resonate. And
that's right. That's absolutely right. And then, just getting a chance to learn. Having a safe space to say, well, I don't know how to do this. What should we be looking at here? Yeah. But then the other thing is the one-on-one conversations that you get to have. Yes. And so we were saying on one of our last podcasts that we did that, you would pay a lot of money to get to sit with some of these dealers and pick their brains. But because you're at a convention and, you're with the quality dealer of the year, or, those are at the top of their game, you can just sit and talk with them one-on-one, and it's free because you're at the same place at the same time.
That's the same lunch table, and you just
That's right.
Exactly.
That's right.
I think the first year that we went to TIADA, TIADA puts on a great conference too. It's a lot of buy here, pay here out there. And so when we were sitting, we grabbed our lunch and just sat down at a table, and we're not afraid of people, so it was like a couple seats. We sit here and just sat and listened to the conversation and started talking, and didn't realize, because I was brand new to buy here. I married
into buy here, pay here.
But
buy here, pay here. That could be a book. Married, buy here, pay here.
But just listening to the conversation and getting to know, how are you? And I didn't realize until later that it's like we just sat down with half the TIADA board. I mean, it was just like all of the people that they've been in it for a while. And so, it's the shaking the hands, and it's like, oh, this is,
and they're very generous with knowledge and information. So yeah.
Absolutely. And it gives you a chance to share. Go ahead, Kendra.
That's that networking component. So when you think like, this is how dealers network. You go to network to make your friends, to make your professional colleague relationships that are going to better your business. And TIADA is also a great conference to go to.
Yeah, and by attending NIADA last year, I now have the opportunity to attend and speak at TIADA this year. So it'll be my first year there, and I just hear how large it is. So Kendra, I'm excited to see you. I am.
I'm going to be speaking too.
Oh, I love it. See, look at
That's amazing.
It all connects. It all connects by attending conventions. So.
Yeah.
So if you're out there and you're unsure if you should come, you definitely should attend. And it doesn't matter how long you've been in business, you're going to benefit from it.
Get on the plane. It's easy to get to Vegas.
So we're just about ready to wrap up, and I just wanted to give you both a chance to just closing thoughts about coming and all of the things NIADA. Candice?
Sure. I would say that it's worth the trip. Bring someone else from your company if you can, bring another staffer. It's important. They're going to grow. They'll understand why you're asking them to do certain things, or asking them to stop doing certain things, and, building relationships and forming relationships with the customer. So it's important to get out there. Even if you're saying, well, I've attended before, what new could I get? The sessions change every year. And there's new dealers coming in every year. And one thing that they're doing that's huge this year is they're including legislation and what things are affecting, our businesses and what things are about to affect our businesses. And it's kind of neat because we get to know first. This is what's coming down the pipeline, that may have an effect. So you still have time to write your senators if we're, wanting some change to occur. So I just think there's so many reasons. There's so many more reasons to attend than not to attend.
For sure.
Amen. Kendra?
Yes, I'd say, it is worth the trip, and it's I think you get your membership when you attend the conference, and the fee, if not whatever it is, it's nominal because you get your association membership for your local and state associations, which just opens up more opportunities for education. And it is, I think it's affordable. I think it makes perfect sense for what you're going to get out of it. Some meals are included in that event registration fee. And if you're a first timer, I think this conference is going to be really amazing. I've seen a lot of the sessions, and I'm very excited about it from a dealer perspective.
Yeah. One other big thing that I don't think gets talked about, like one of the things we see with dealers is sometimes they have a drink on their desk and it starts getting warm before they finish. And I think when you go to the exhibit hall, you can walk through and you can get all these koozies to keep your drinks cold and all this, fill up your swag bag.
Jim, I love it. We didn't talk about all the koozies that you get walking through. We get some pretty cool stuff. Last year we actually got, what are those things, the air tags? Apple AirTag.
Yes.
Oh,
yeah.
That's
good swag. So one more reason to be there. But we just really enjoy the conference for all these reasons. But all the things you talked about, we just obviously enjoy connecting with people. And this year, if I'm sitting at the lunch table and somebody says, how much money should I set aside to get in the buy here, pay here business, I'm going to be able to tell them, I can introduce you to somebody who started with $3,500. So,
right. Absolutely. We can. We'll walk them through it.
Yeah.
I love that story. I love that you're
very good.
Being resourceful out there in Omaha. So good for you.
Well, we're looking forward to meeting you face to face at the conference. And so, come find us, and we'll be looking for you as well. Again, I will be there. Jim is speaking.
Yeah, Kendra, put that one on your schedule. 9 a.m. on Thursday, Vegas time. We got one session you're going to want to attend.
Yes,
so,
and I'll be behind the control board because we will be broadcasting that live through Buy Here Pay Here Nation television.
Oh, cool.
So usually when we speak, that we broadcast that over all of our social media channels, and so people have the opportunity to kind of get a little taste of what's happening. But it's usually us speaking.
So we asked NIADA permission, and they said, as long as you can keep Michelle from swearing, then it's fine. So we're good.
I'm the one with the control to go beep.
Yeah.
I'm not that bad.
Thanks, ladies, for making time to talk.
Thank you very, very
much for
much.
having us.
You're so welcome. Stick around if you don't mind, just for a minute and backstage, so we can say a proper goodbye. And again, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks for having us. Kendra, good seeing you again.
Yeah, good to see Candice.
All right. Excellent. Thank you.
Rock stars.
Rock stars. So glad to have them here.
Yeah.
And I think I just booted Candice out on accident.
She might have pulled herself out there.
Oh, there she's coming back in.
Good,
excellent. Okay. All right. So what else do we got before we need to go?
We got our August 1st event coming up. We want to make sure everybody remembers.
Oh, yeah.
And go find that button on YouTube where you hit subscribe to our YouTube channel, because all this stuff goes to YouTube, and that session we're talking about will definitely go to YouTube. So make sure
just really quick, the event in August 1st, we're doing a 4-session live event through Buy Here Pay Here Nation Television on deal structure. And we're bringing Brent Carmichael will be there. We've got a couple other people that might be there, but this is going to be about, in the industry, what are the numbers that are working? Numbers. So if you guys have the opportunity to do that, we'll have registration coming out here pretty soon for people to be able to join us. And also, we know when you go to NIADA, you have a page, 2 pages, 3 pages of notes of things that you want to do and be able to accomplish in your dealership. And we've talked to a lot of dealers, and it's like, we love going to conference. We end up with 2 or 3 pages and we might get 2 things done. And so it can be a little bit frustrating. One of the things that Jim and I do is that we help with implementation. So if there are things that you want to do, give us a holler and we can help with that. Help keep you going. All right. So thank you guys, everybody, so much for joining us today. Hope you have a great Monday and kick the week off in a really good way.
Scott Allen on Wednesday.
All right. We'll talk to you later. Thanks again, everybody.